This movie tells a story about Mike and Marcus, who are back in this fourth movie as they have to work together again to clear their former captain's name as he's implicated in corruption. First of all, one of the reasons why we watch this kind of movie is to get the laughs from its main characters. Unfortunately, that's not the case here. This movie doesn't care enough about its selling points, which are its both stars, as it fails to give them decent lines and dialogue. The chemistry is still decent, but the dialogue is mostly witless, with some tiresome scenes that strain to get laughs. Some series of jokes and crazy act delivered with diminishing returns as both actors' extended carry-on eventually grows tedious. The body chemistry between both characters cannot keep it on the rails as the movie is leaning heavily into the insanity and inanity of events. The dynamic is kept somewhat fresh when one of the duo suffers a life-threatening incident. Unfortunately, the threat wears thin sooner than later. Both characters are reduced to spewing a lot of very unfunny jokes as they have become more buffoonish than ever before. The movie mistakenly thinks that Mike and Marcus shouting bad jokes should automatically make these jokes funny. To make it worse, viewers have to sit through a lot of moronic banter and unfunny jokes to get to the inevitable bombastic and silly ending. The plot itself is really thin, but also convoluted at the same time. So much of the weight of the movie is put on Martin Lawrence and Will Smith's shoulders. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't give them enough to do. Their characters go through major life events that get shoved aside in the story and only brought back as a punchline or to do something incredibly unoriginal. All of the supporting characters in this movie are very underdeveloped. The same goes for the main villain, who is just a generic, uncharismatic bad guy. There's nothing interesting, clever, or unusual about this utterly generic villain. The motivation behind the corrupt officials driving the plot is only given in a short moment in the final act. Another bad news is that, save for a few moments, the action is also a disappointment. Apart from probably a couple of cool sequences, more often than not, the action is overly flashy to the point of being hard to follow. The movie depicts action scenes with so much camera movement and other effects. It's all to create the impression that is a lot going on and it's intense, but it's more confusing than anything. Overall, it's not worth to watch this in theaters. Just wait on your streaming service.